you ever heard the term, we make habits and then habits make us? How often do you check your habits and try to change them? Make good ones and break the bad ones? Well, human behavior is always changing from situation to situation, moment to moment, and seconds to seconds. But this book is about what doesn't change. It is about the fundamentals of human behavior. As Atomic Habits is one of the best-selling books I have ever read on building and breaking your habits. The book leaves you with no more excuses to establish habits that you admire in others and break the ones that holds you back from living your best life. The best thing about the book is its explanation on how we adopt habits, why we are not able to quit or build habits easily, and empower readers with simple, doable steps to create the best habits for the best life. As James, after discussing the fundamentals of our existing habits and how we got them, focuses on 4 laws of habit building and inversions of those laws of breaking the old ones. Why tiny changes makes a big difference. As James explores how we often ignore the small stuff and claims that it is the tiny changes that makes a huge positive impact in the long term. He shared a couple of good concepts here. First is plateau of latent potential. If you find yourself struggling to building a good habit or break a bad one, it is often because you have not crossed yet the plateau of latent potential. Well, small changes often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold. The most powerful outcomes of any compounding process are delayed. So we need to be patient. Second thing is goals versus systems. Goals are about the results you want to achieve, and systems are about the processes that lead to those results. And goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. When you solve problems at the result level, you only solve them temporarily. To improve for good, you need to solve problems at the system level. You fix the inputs and the outputs will fix themselves. Winners and losers both have same goals. However, winning goes to team and people with better systems. Third one is 3 layers of behavioral change. Changing outcomes is changing results, and goals are outcome change. Changing process is changing the system and trying new methods, tactics. Most habits are associated with this level of change. And then changing the identity. This is about changing their beliefs, our own worldviews, and our self-images. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases we hold are associated with this level. Outcomes are about what we get and what you get. Processes are about what you do and what we do. Identity is about what you believe or what we believe. The ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. For example, the example of identity shifts for incalculating habits for good. First one is the goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. Second is the goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. Third one is the goal is not to learn an instrument. The goal is to become a musician. That's it. So now let's talk about the first law. And the first thing to take first law in action is to take stock of your current habits. Before we can effectively build new habits, we need to get a handle on our current ones. This can be more challenging than it sounds because once a habit is firmly rooted in your life, it is mostly unconsciously and automatic. Second thing is implementation intention. Write it down, time, date, place, when you will implement the activity. Because when you write it down, you leave nothing to chance and feel more committed, and it is way easy to implement habit when it is written in details. Now the third thing to make first law in action is to habit stacking. It is simple plan to overhaul your habits and lining them with existing one, like attaching new habits to some existing habits. Example, after tea in morning, I will sit for meditation. Like this, something you can do for yourself. Making it obvious increases the chances of developing and sticking to any habit we want to inculcate, as there is not ambiguity of time, place, and sequences. Fourth thing is inversion of first law, that is, make it invisible. Every habit is initiated by a cue, and we are more likely to notice cue that stands out. One of the most practical ways to eliminate a bad habit is to reduce exposure to the cue that causes it. Now we will talk about the second law, that is, make it attractive. And the first thing to make in action the second law is we imitate the habit of three: close, many, and powerful. We do not choose our earliest habits, we imitate them. We follow the script handed down by our own friends and by our families, our church or school, or our local community and society at large. Then imitate the close. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have in yourself, as in you will rise together. And the third thing is imitate the many. Most days we did rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. And then lastly, imitating the powerful. High status people enjoy the approval, respect, and praise of others. And that means if a behavior can get us approval, respect, and praise, we find it attractive. Now we will talk about the third law, that is, make it easy. And the first thing to make in action the third law, that is, planning the trap. We are so focused on figuring out the best approach that we never get around to taking actions. When preparation becomes a form of procrastination, you need to change something. You do not want to merely be planning, you want it to be practicing. If you want to master a habit, the key is to start with repetitions and not with the perfection. Now, the second thing to make this third law in action is the law of the least effort. We are wired to attain as much as with us with little efforts as possible. And James claims that is a good thing and we can use to bind our habits with. When we remove the points of friction that saps our time and energy, we can achieve more with less efforts. And now we are coming to the fourth law, that is, make it satisfying. And the first thing that you can do to make this fourth law in action, that is cardinal rule of behavioral change. Well, what is rewarded is repeated and what is punished is avoided. Well, you learn what to do in your future is based on what you were rewarded for and what punished for doing in the past. The first three laws emphasize on habits being performed with time, and the fourth law makes sure it gets repeated by making it satisfying. The costs of your good habits are in your present and the costs of your bad habits are in the future. And the second thing that you can do to bring in force that fourth law is habits tracker. As it is said, whatever gets tracked gets accomplished, and habits are no different. You keep a track on any habit for how many times you do in a day, in a month, in a week, or we will have good habits developed. Keep a track on tiny changes you make. How often you perform. Do a tick mark on your calendar. It will inspire you to be more consistent with the process because you will of course feel rewarded by doing so. And the third thing is the Goldilocks rules. It states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. The greatest threat to success is not failure, but it is boredom. Once the beginner gains have been made and we learn what to expect, our interest starts to fade. The only way to become excellent is to be endlessly fascinated by doing the same thing over and over again. You must fall in love with boredom at this point of time. Well, atomic habits will make you aware of current habits, help you build good, and let go of bad ones with only tiny changes, which won't be overwhelming and simple to apply. Well, read this one and make better habits and live a better life. Link of the same is available in the description box below, just in case you wanted to read the whole book by yourself. I highly recommend this book, as if you like this book, you may also like the Changes Your Habit, Change Your Life by Scott Piles. Thank you for giving your precious time for watching this video. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below because I would love to hear from you. Wish you a life with great habits, and this is Divya from Tegonity Academy. We'll see you soon in a very new video with some more topics like this. Till then, goodbye. Take care.